There isn't a red or blue America when a president's policies wipe out what you see here, part of the $6 trillion losses in days. Everyone loses. And we have new evidence right now showing the backlash to Trump's flailing trade war. That backlash is broad. From the bankers and CEOs I mentioned and quoted some here at the top of the show, to political leaders in both parties. Plus this weekend's protest, which tapped into the wider anger there. You can see the sad emoji with a crashing retirement account and the failed policies that those protesters say are hurting Americans and small businesses in real time. Now, then there are still many people who, of course, avoid traditional or credentialed press. This is what CNBC looks like if you turn it on the screen here, but people may not see that kind of news coverage of the tanking markets. There are people who consume alternative, younger media. That's as a cultural matter, or what you've heard about, some of these MAGA-friendly podcasts and streaming shows, and that's a political matter. And a different set of voices rules.
One bite, everybody knows was a volley. 7-7. Good, solid.
Most companies have all these different requirements, and they're openly allowed to discriminate against especially heterosexual white men.
The attempt to feminize men is ongoing on the left.
Check out this rap and let me know your honest thoughts.
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible.
That's from one of the streaming shows there. And a Tesla Cyber Beast retails for about $100,000. The young man you see there, Aiden Ross, would have a harder time buying one now. Now, he's supported Trump and even scored a coveted interview, but he now complains with the tariff crash that he's losing money, that he feels, quote, poor after all this, which is part of a wider backlash from MAGA podcasters and streamers. And let's be clear, many of them speak to their audience in an unfiltered, authentic way in real time. That's part of what draws their audience. Now, they have MAGA credentials. I'm showing you they have this past talk about supporting Trump's promise for the country, but many of them are now sharing with their huge audiences, which can number in the millions or tens of millions in the case of Rogan, who I showed earlier. Well, many of the ones you're about to see, they're sharing concern, panic, confusion, and even disgust over the cost of Trump's flailing trade war.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Trump has put his tariffs all over the place. I've been trying to understand them. I don't. And everything's in the because of it. Donald Trump just cost me $20 million or whatever he did. Maybe don't be on the golf course.
Everyone in this room, everyone loves you. And I just want to say you're a true hero for this country. I don't know how many of you guys are invested in crypto or stocks. What the is going on with our country? Guys, why am I poor?
Because Donald Trump is the nominee against Joe Biden, I won't just vote for him. I will walk over broken glass to vote for him. His giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally.
This is a vivid demonstration of very well-known, prominent Trump fans, whether they're in your feeds, as they say, or not, going through their own personal experience of the harm of these Trump economic policies as their viewers watch. And this shows how the medium is still the message. The younger viewers might see their favorite commentator reacting to the markets in real time, kind of like a popular YouTube reaction videos, or sometimes there'll be a video of someone cooking or a dog doing a trick, and then someone else reacts. That's how some people are getting these bad market updates, learning how bad things are in reality. And it is hard to dismiss these last 5 days as some, quote, snowflake old media conspiracy when very MAGA-friendly new media are live streaming their pain.
Donald Trump just cost me $20 million or whatever he did.
What the is going on with our country?
Maybe don't be on the golf course.
Guys, why am I poor?
Now, losing $20 million means you have more than $20 million. Trump's richest backers are losing even more. The tech titans from the inauguration, who had criticized Trump before, remember, who had given public warnings about exactly the type of governing failures we've been seeing now, they're down tens of billion with a B. The one who lost the most has actually been the most involved. Musk on the right losing over $100 billion in the past few months alone. It's hard to even get your head around the numbers. This theme runs from those tech elites to the MAGA podcasters I showed you to some of the most seasoned Wall Street insiders. Take the hedge fund leader and Trump backer Bill Ackman, who made a lot of news this week by bemoaning how the tariffs from Trump are leading to a self-induced economic nuclear winter. Total reversal, I should say, from his post-election vow that Trump would do nothing to interfere with America's economy.
We're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime, certainly. President Trump will do nothing that interferes with the success of the country, the success of the economy.
He will do nothing. That was post-election. That was just over 100 days ago. And yet, what Ackman is referring to, the quote I read you that's new, tariffs causing an economic nuclear winter. The tariffs are from the guy Ackman wanted elected. Ackman now part of this larger money-losing team who said they just didn't think Trump would tariff like he said he would. Ackman also goes further in addressing this. He claims it was actually unforeseeable that Trump would do what he said he would do on tariffs, posting, quote, "I don't think this was foreseeable. I assumed economic rationality would be paramount. My bad." All right. And yet, might be or not, it was somehow foreseeable to other people, some of whom are, of course, Trump critics or in the opposition to Trump and MAGA, some of whom are just nonpartisan individual experts or journalists who try to track what he really does and how he operates. And we have a long record now for that. Because many other people knew that it was foreseeable.
Okay, so let me bring you in on something. The fallout over President Trump's tariffs turmoil has gotten so bad that even people in his own administration are fighting over it. The Washington Post is reporting that over the weekend, Elon Musk made direct appeals to Trump to reverse the tariffs, while also going after the president's top trade advisor, Peter Navarro, on social media. Now, Navarro then took a shot at Musk on CNBC, saying the Tesla CEO is, quote, not a car manufacturer, but a car assembler, which Musk responded to by calling Navarro a, quote, moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. When asked about this feud at today's press briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt didn't refute it. Instead, she said this.
Look, these are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue.
Boys will be boys. But here's the thing. These schoolyard fights don't really matter, folks, because at the end of the day, no matter what cracks may or may not have been formed between Trump and Musk and Navarro and whomever, that agenda between Trump and Musk remains the same. That is, the dismantling of the federal government through DOGE, which is essentially the physical manifestation of Project 2025. Back with me are Neera Tanden, Charlie Dent, and Catherine Rappel. Catherine, on that point, you know, boys will be boys. It's just so silly, the whole schoolyard crazy. It's, in my view, a distraction, because the real thing is what's still going on outside of these walls, across the street, on Capitol Hill, and at federal buildings around the country, that individuals are losing their job, programs are ceasing, phone calls aren't being answered. The disintegration continues despite the fact that the 10-year-olds are acting like, well, 5-year-olds.
Look, you know, Elon Musk just can't catch a break. He spent $200 million trying to get Donald Trump elected so that they could run the government together. But then it turns out they both suck at running the government, and so now he's over $100 billion poorer. So I understand why he's upset. But you are right that the bigger story here is the wholesale dismantling of our federal government, the disappearance of federal statistics, the layoffs of scientists, translators, air traffic controllers, that nuclear inspectors whom they are trying to hire back periodically. RFK Jr., the HHS secretary, even recently said that, 20% of the people that he just fired were probably mistakes. And whatever the judges rule on all of this, they're going to come back anyway. But why would anyone in their right mind, if they have other opportunities, particularly if they have really highly valued skills, including many of the scientists within our Health and Human Services Department at CDC and FDA, why would they come back? If they do come back, many of them will be recused from working on the kinds of work that the valuable work that they had been doing before, because they had already started looking for other employment. So there are so many ways in which the basic functions of our government have been sabotaged, and Americans will start to notice it. In fact, many of them have. If they can't get phone calls answered at Social Security, if they have trouble signing up their kids for various kinds of other safety net programs, food assistance, for example, Head Start funding has been disrupted. These things, besides being pretty inhumane in how DOJ has been treating the workers themselves and wasting tons of really valuable human capital, it's the general voter who's...
Mar-a-Lago crowd is turning on Trump. There's massive tension down at Mar-a-Lago, what is Trump's home for much of the year. He spends much of his winters there. He spends time golfing down in Florida. It takes $1 million basically to take the president down to golf there, because, you have to fly the Air Force One and take all the security and all the staff. It's like $1 million, right? And he spends a lot of time down there. And there's a particular kind of person that hangs out at Mar-a-Lago, right? They're wealthy, yes. They're also ideological. A lot of them are in business, they're in stockbroking, they're right-wing multimillionaires, and sometimes billionaires. We saw Elon and Trump hang out basically for all of November, December, January down there. And the very sorts of people that are hanging out at places like Mar-a-Lago and all the other Trump clubs, to be fair, I'm sure a lot of them also hang out at Bedminster in the summer in Jersey, they are furious right now. They're the ones that are taking big losses. I know many of you, my own retirement fund, I'm sure your retirement fund as well, everybody's retirement funds have taken a hit. But it's also affecting multimillionaires. We saw the guy from Barstool Sports. I forget his name. I'm not trying to be coy, but he's the famous Barstool guy. Right in the comments, Dave Portnoy is his name. Sorry, who's like, oh man, I lost $20 million in like 3 days because of Trump. These sorts of billionaires and multimillionaires that hang out at Mar-a-Lago are taking real big losses. Remember, they saw Trump as an investment. Give him a couple million, and he'll give us dozens of millions over the next few years in taxes and deregulation, tax cuts and deregulation. And he has failed to deliver.